even in Sudan specifically, right? There was at least one case where people were referenced as approaching the mission school to learn the white man's religion in order to deploy it against him, right? To learn the quote unquote secrets of the white man, right? So, practically speaking, what this could mean is, right, for someone like a, you know, for someone like an Eduardo Manlane, right, from Mozambique, right, who went to mission schools, right? Well, if he read about, you know, everybody being made in the image and likeness of God, right, and kind of learned for himself through the Bible that all peoples are created equal and that God is love and that love is the greatest commandment, right? And then walks outside and sees, white Portuguese soldiers, treating, Black Mozambicans all kinds of ways, right? This, liberation soldier who dies a hero's death, right, had Christianity as a core part of his anti-colonial, anti-imperialist philosophy, right? So there's a way in which some people used the Bibles that were presented to them by white missionaries and instead deployed it against the colonial state, right? In terms of like a Black liberation a Black liberation the a Black liberation theology, right? Someone like a Desmond Tutu, right, could not exist, right, in the way that he showed up as an anti-apartheid activist without an intimate knowledge, right, of what the Bible teaches about social equality, right? Someone like an Eduardo Manlane in Mozambique could not exist in the way that he showed up, right, and his particular political anti-Mozambican expression, right, without the Bible. That is not to say that one requires the Bible to be an anti-colonialist, but for the mission school student who is learning, passages about biblical Israel and the Gospels and constantly being presented with examples of oppressive statecraft and then, the teachings about, God is love and about, right, like that there is a way in which these Black Africans, right, of course, had minds of their own, right? And were not just being spoon fed what to think by white missionaries, but were learning about God on their own terms, right? Reconciling the Christian God with what they already understood about who and what God was, right? And so the history of African Christianity is really about how Black Africans have used and deployed Christianity for their own purposes, right? Purposes, yes, that are connected with submission to colonial states, but also purposes that are inherently connected to the history of anti-colonial movements, right? And then post-colonial oppression, and in the case of a South Sudan, post-colonial liberation as well.
What do you think Africans in the diaspora, okay, let's say maybe in Africa, could do to sort of rekindle their history? Because you, as a historian, I want to believe that you have love for history. What do you think Africa in the diaspora could do to revisit more their history instead of just be, I don't want to say spoon fed, instead of just taking this idea that have been created for them in the name of religion, using that one as a script to organize their life?
Sure. So, one thing that I can say as an African American historian of Africa is that I have had a personal discomfort with invocations of African history that are almost exclusively connected to the ancient past, right? Now, I get why that is, right? That because of the history of enslavement, right? Black peoples throughout the diaspora were hungry to look for examples of Black African glory that preceded transatlantic slavery. And so things like ancient Egypt and ancient Kush, right? Were often used, right, as examples of, see, look, we have not always been slaves, right? We are not stupid, we are not uncivilized. And these kind of ancient African kingdoms, Timbuktu, Mali, Songhai, right, are all examples of African civilization, glory, self reliance, right? Those things are true. However, I'm like, well, what about modern Africa, right? And so I think that lots of African Americans, as crazy as it might sound, are more familiar with ancient Egypt than, say, Hosni Mubarak, right? People who are more knowledgeable about, Kwame Nkrumah and not about, um, Jacob Zuma, right? So that's just a long-winded way of saying that this one African American would like to see contemporary Africa being talked about throughout the diaspora more, right? That Africa is more than the location where people were enslaved. It's more than the ancient Egyptian pyramids, as great as those are, right? It's more than, Great Zimbabwe and right, but it's also 2022, right? That it's also the, well, soon to be the demographic center of global Christianity, right? It's also the continent that is experiencing a technological revolution, right? It's also a continent where, so many things are happening and whose geopolitical um, uh, whose geopolitical importance is increasing, right? And so I would like to, and this might be or might seem contrary for an historian of all people to say, but I would like people to know more about the contemporary, right? And not see Africa as this kind of place that is fixed in the, ancient and colonial past, but that is really important, influential, impressive, and critical for us today on, March the 30th, 2022.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It is important. I agree with you because we are also living in the present. We are not just in the past. The past, we needed to be able to understand our bearing. But our life is now. We are living. We are here. So it is important that we also talk about what is going on, the plan, the strategy. What have we done in the last maybe 5, 6 years? What is the plan for the
Exactly.
future? What are the, yeah, I agree with you completely. How can people find you? Maybe they want to connect with you, or maybe they want to buy your book. Please use a short moment to explain that.
Sure. So you can Google me. So my first name is Christopher, my last name is Tounsel. And if you Google Christopher Tounsel and then Sudan, almost certainly my book will come up. But you can also go to the book's website at Duke University Press. I'm also on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at C Tounsel and then the number one. And my book's title is on the, I guess, masthead. And so you can also learn about the book there.
All right, interesting. So what would be your final message in this conversation?
Sure. My final message in this conversation is religion matters, right? And we should be talking about it. We should be engaging in these kinds of discussions and debates. We should not be accepting the first or the dominant narrative, right? So whether the dominant narrative that you've been exposed to is that religion has only meant all these good things, it's also meant other things, right? If you've only been exposed to the dominant, tale of religion has done all of these bad things, well, there's also another side of that coin. But the point is that for good or for ill, we should be talking about the influence that religion has had, is having, and can have moving forward.
It really has been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you so much.